welcome to your Harsh Truth reading. This is going to be the first portion of your reading here. I have an astrology card. I pulled the South Node. And from Osho Zen Tarot, we have Silence. So we'll chat about this, and then we'll go into some cards. Just cleansing your space, my space, our energy. First, let's take a breath. Breathe in. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more inhale. Virgo. So let's talk about what we have here. From Osho Zen Tarot, we have Silence, card 17, and from the astrology deck, we're going to talk about silence in your South Node. And if you don't know what your South Node is, everybody has a South Node in their chart. Just most people don't really know about it. Your North Node is your life path or your soul purpose, and your South Node is your life's debt. And with the Silence card here, this is very specific, and this reading is the Harsh Truth, so I tried not to be so specific. I'm not a reader that just like pulls a situation or a scenario, but this one happens to be very specific. What I'm getting here from these two cards alone is you've paid your debts. Somebody, whoever this is resonating for, you have gone through a karmatic lesson, or you're coming out of it. And if you have not, then at least let this be confirmation that a Virgo is coming out of a karmatic lesson. This Silence card, if you see the face on here, the moon is there, starry night, lake, smoky fog. They are in deep meditation. This card was speaking about you are so silent right now that you can hear yourself think. Now is the time to come home to yourself, right? But I'm kind of getting that you're already there. Your quality of your inner silence is portraying inside and out. So you're in a very Zen state. So a lot of you might be on your life path already, or you're woke. Actually, Virgo is still my most watched reading. And you guys are woke because you're my biggest community on YouTube. And obviously, if you're on YouTube, then you know where to go to get a sense of hope, a confirmation, an omen. So you're woke, you're awake. And this card is definitely speaking about the silence that you have on the inside is also portraying on the outside. Times change, the world goes on, but things can change, your life can change, but what doesn't change is the silence in your mind, the experience of silence. The same silence that you heard, saw, sat with, in 1999 is the same silence you're going to sit with in 2001. And it's the same silence you sat with when you were a baby. That never changes, the silence in your mind. And this card really speaks about how you're already there. For those of you that are not there, you need to get to that point where you can sit in meditation and just completely be silent. And if you are there, kudos to you, like pat on the back, like you've reached that point. And maybe you even realize it, like, I meditate every day. I actually sit in silence every day. Do you realize that that's the same silence that you sat in years ago? That doesn't change. Your life might change. You might be meditating in a different space. You might be, doing something, being in a completely different place, but the silence doesn't change. You'll always resonate with your silence. Enjoy your aloneness. Seek those who understand your silence. Communities, right? This is a community here. We are a community, and we understand what silence is. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about here, right? You either do or you don't. There's no like in between. Sorry, that's bothering me. Rely on it. It never dies. It's the one thing that never dies. Because when you pass on, or you're resurrected, or you move forward, whatever you believe in your afterlife process, you're gonna sit in the same silence that never changes. And it has to do with the South Node, right? So the South Node is your life's debt. It represents like karmatic placements, karmatic events, or karmatic points in your chart that need to be let go, right? So getting the silence card with the South Node is like you've gone through the debt. You've gone through your karmatic lesson, and now it's time to let it go. You might be, evaluating certain aspects of your life and realizing that, there's people, places, and things that no longer suit you, and it's time to move forward. Sit in that silence so you can understand that aspect, so you can comprehend this life's debt, so you can move forward. It's all the South Node. It's all about being prepared, right? South Node, life's debt, karmatic lessons. You have to go through a karmatic lesson in order to move on, in order to understand something, to understand what to expect next. To be prepared for what's next. So you might have gone through a very dark time. So that breath was probably really a reliever. Like, let that be a sigh of relief that you have gone through that karmatic lesson, or you're about to go through it if you're not already there. There is a sense that you need to leave your comfort zone so that you can make space for new contacts and anything is possible and new opportunities, but you have to go through your life's debts in order for you to move forward and experience something new. And I hate to say this, but like if you haven't gone through some type of karmatic lesson, I don't want to say a trauma either, because it's not necessarily, it has to be like, something that's crazy, like, tower card. Trauma doesn't have to be just be a chaotic thing that happens in your life. But if you haven't learned a lesson, then you haven't been through karma yet. And it can be as simple as like, oh, I signed up for that and I never paid, and I paid for it, I never went. That's a lesson there. Don't waste my money. That's a lesson, right? But we're talking about on a bigger sense, in the sense of silence, in the sense of being still, being one with yourself in meditation, and how that doesn't change. But within that silence is when you can realize, what is suiting your life. Are you still on your life path? Are you still in your soul purpose? Are there people, places, and things that no longer suit your time, that are no longer fitting into what you're doing right now? And it's okay to move forward. It's okay. And within silence, when you're in that state of mind, is when you can become okay with, what, I think it's time for me to part ways with something that's no longer suiting me, because I need to make space for a different experience. There's no growth in comfort. I feel like that's just a New York thing. Like, oh, you're gonna be in one job for 10 years. That only works in fucking New York, bro. Like, that does not work anywhere else. And 5 of those 10 years, you're gonna be miserable because you're stuck in a place that now you're making this much money and you can't get that money anywhere else, and you'd have to take a demotion. Like, I'm sorry, but money doesn't buy you happiness. The richest people are the most miserable. The best songwriters and singers are the ones that are talking about their loneliness and lyrically expressing themselves because they're vibrating at a different frequency than everybody else. But they've gone within their silence, and now they can speak what they want. They can say what they want because nobody's holding them back. They're not tied to a contract. They're not tied to anything. Anyway, I don't know why I went on that rant, but there's a sense of life debts. There's things that you need to let go. But with the silence card here, you're already there. So this reading is very specific. It's going to be very specific. And if you're just waking up to this and you're like, I don't understand what he's talking about, this is not for me. Can you sit in silence and be okay with yourself? Is there space for growth? There's always space for growth. So if you think that you're just stuck somewhere, are you dependent on someone or something? It doesn't have to just be substances. I'm dependent on my husband because he pays all the bills and I haven't had a job in 20 years. That's dependent. But you're not, but you know you're not meant to be with that person because you're just no longer fitting each other anymore. That's okay. Doesn't mean you have to stop loving them. Maybe you're in a karmatic relationship. That we often find ourselves in more karmatic relationships than soulmate energy. It's just supposed to be a lesson for you to be prepared for the next relationship. So if this sounds like your reading, if this sounds like you'd like to continue on, I'm gonna pull 10 cards here. You'll get to see the cards here, but the rest of this reading is gonna be on OnlyFans. I can't shuffle because I hurt myself rollerblading. Like I said, so I'm gonna pull 10 cards here and we're gonna go to it. I can't shuffle here. On OnlyFans, the subscription is $5.55. I wish I could make it $4.44, but they have a minimum there. So it's $5.55. What I can promise you now is you'll get one harsh truth reading a month for now, until I can put more, monthly, weekly content out. But again, that's where I'm going to move my platform. If you're seeing this on Instagram or YouTube, the description is below or in the comments for the link to my OnlyFans. And there you can see the rest of this reading. I'll be adding some more things, of course, obviously. I want to get into like sexual tarot and like sex therapy. Yes, that's what I want to get into. So you'll catch that there. Let's see your 10 cards here. 10 of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, Judgment, 4 of Swords, 3 of Wands, 5 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, 7 of Cups, Knight of Cups, and the Sun. Wow. See a lot of 5s here. We have 10 of Pentacles to start off. So if this sounds like you're reading and you want to continue, catch me over on OnlyFans. Otherwise, thank you for following, like, sharing, and subscribing, and I'll see you there. If you're on OnlyFans, here's the second part of your reading. Just gonna cleanse the space.